Game 2 for the Sun Devils, Saturday night, 7:30 against UNLV. They got a nice win last week against Southern Utah. Kent Summers, Michelle Gardner here. Michelle, what was one of your takeaways from the win against Southern Utah?
Well, it was a win. And as Coach Edwards would say, any win's a good win. But I think the takeaway that all of us had just sitting there watching the game was the penalties. And you cannot have 13 penalties for 135 yards. 11 of those penalties were in the first half. ASU settled down a little bit in the second half. But, I mean, it started right off the bat when on the first series there was a running into the kicker call against ASU. So you've got to clean up those penalties because, you know, you can get away with them in these chippy games that you're expected to win. But when you're playing tougher teams, you can't get away with 135 yards in penalties.
And Kent, well, yeah, the penalties did stack up. But what was your takeaway here from the ASU win?
That they were lucky they were playing Southern Utah and they weren't playing Montana, for instance, which ended up beating Washington, a better FCS team than Southern Utah, which was like 5-25 in their last 30 games. It was really a sloppy effort. But the schedule's favorable for ASU. They get a chance to ease into this season with Southern Utah and now UNLV before things get really tough. So it wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, I expect them to look much better Saturday against UNLV.
All right, so UNLV loses a tough double overtime to Eastern Washington. Michelle, you're looking at possibly a big-time running back for the Rebels in Charles Williams, 172 yards. You think the defensive line really needs to step up in this game for the Sun Devils?
The talk in practice all week has been stopping the running game and stopping this particular running back. And he's on track to set the school's career record in rushing if he doesn't get hurt. I think he's 620 yards away. So they're going to have a challenge. And, the defensive line is kind of still a work in progress. They're missing Jermaine Lole. We talked about that last week. So, they've got Omar Norman Lott and they've got Shannon Foreman stepping in there to kind of, between the two of them, fill that position. And hopefully the defensive line will get better this week just because Tyler Johnson will be back. He was ejected midway through the first quarter for a targeting call. And that really hurt ASU last week because then they were without their top rush stopper and their top pass rusher. So I think the defensive line is going to play a little bit better this week. DJ Davidson had a huge week. He was the guy that Coach pointed out, and DJ was the defensive line player of the week in the Pac-12 this week. So he kind of leads the effort there now. So let's see if they could stop the run because I think that's the key.
And Kent, this is a UNLV team that gave up 374 passing yards. Well, what do you look for from ASU against UNLV?
I think, again, ASU will be run heavy. I mean, that's what Herm likes to do. That's what they're built for with those two NFL caliber running backs. But really what I would like to see is them pass the ball, development of the passing game. I think it would really behoove them to get into a game and have Jaden Daniels throw the ball more than 12 times, which he did against Southern Utah. To me, that's the biggest question about ASU's offense is can they get a passing game going? Who's stepping up at receiver? How good is Jaden Daniels? We need to see development from him. And I don't think he gets a lot out of a game where he just hands it off 12 times. I get why they do it, and I get how that game played out. But I think they need a game to try and get him in a groove and have him throw 25 to 35 times a game to get him ready for BYU the following Saturday, Colorado coming up, UCLA coming up. I think that's what they've got to use this game for.
All right, so prediction time, Michelle. What are you predicting here for this ASU UNLV game Saturday night?
I think it's going to be pretty similar to last week's game. I'll go something like 48-7. I think they should win this game handily. Maybe UNLV breaks a run here or there. There were some errors in gap coverage, and ASU did give up some gains there. So I'm going to go somewhere in the neighborhood of 48-7.
And Kent, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd love to create some debate here and have some fun with it, but I see the same thing as Michelle. I think ASU is going to play much better. Certainly they couldn't be much worse than they were in the first half last week. UNLV's not very good. They've lost 7 in a row. They haven't won a game yet under this coach. They're going to struggle, I think, offensively. So yeah, I think ASU by like something like 42-7, and again they get a lot of backups into the game.
Okay, well, we'll see how the Sun Devils come out ready to go in Game 2 Saturday night. All your coverage on azcentral.com.